And now it's going to say, hey, we recommend, or we recognize a lot of incrementals for this file. What do you want to get back to? Okay, well, let's just go to 37. And for more historical systems, it would be a really long process to restore all those incrementals. But now we just say, okay, well, what drive letter do you want to create? So let's create a virtual drive on the fly. You don't have to predetermine this. So let's do virtual drive S for Sachin, because he had a good question. We have that selected. Now we hit next. Gives us the file chain and what it's going to do. And we hit finish, and it's going to mount the backup image to virtual drive S. All right, Kevin asked, what about totally remote usage data centers with or without a staging computer? How about VPS servers? Well, you can certainly back up. You're talking about virtual environments. You can, I mean, I'm doing this remotely right now. So you could certainly go that way. All right, so now we have this recovered. I got another question about our installation piece and, you know, why coming through us for this if we go to someone else for it. Well, certainly you have less vendor relationships to manage, and there are specific changes done to the software that we're using, specifically designed and included to our services. So certainly you could remain, you know, a customer of ours for the cloud-based backup portion of everything, and then go to, you know, some other service to do image-based backups, and then take those images off-site with our stuff. Certainly there's an option for that. But the time you save, and the training you save, the resources you save, and having a single vendor, I think is, one, a big part of that, and two, the changes we've made to integrate specifically with our services is really terrific. So we have virtual drive S here. So let me take a, so let's say, okay, well, we've recovered that. Now let's look at what we can do with that Exchange server. So if I go to Exchange Granular Recovery, this opens up, and I pick my source file. So I'm going to browse to the virtual drive we just recovered, so Exchange Volume S. We go to Exchange, Mailbox. I'm looking for the EDB file. There it is. Hit OK. It's automatically going to assume where the transaction logs are going to be, so the same directory. If they're not there for whatever reason, you can browse to a different location. Temporary file path. This is not the same as our cache needs for temporary space. You know, it doesn't get bigger than, you know, 2 to 300 megs. So we hit OK. And now when it verifies the target, it's going to be based off of the user that I'm currently logged in as. So commonly you're just going to be saying, okay, well, the target is going to be an existing Exchange server. You don't have to do it that way. We have other options. So those of you who mess around in digital discovery a little bit, you're going to have the ability to export to a single PST very simply. All you have to do is define a target PST. So now that we have the backup EDB file information loaded up here, what about, like, how can we use that? Well, we can just take the whole source EDB and just drag it on the new hardware. And it's going to say, okay, well, do you want to create the mailboxes that do not exist already? And we say, yes, that's great. That saves me about a step every mailbox. So it's a really simple way to migrate hardware if you're going from different hardware solutions. Also, we can just do a single mailbox. So just drag and drop this mailbox over to the new system, and boom, it's going to overwrite that. Let's say more specifically, more commonly, you have a specific file that one of your users wants to look for. So we're like, okay, well, let's browse. User 1 wants to get a file about, you know, a customer he was dealing with, Nortel, and there's an attachment that he needed that was called Management Guide. Well, I can find now, certainly. Okay, we're searching that folder. We'll search in all folders. All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's do message body as well. I must have changed up my emails a little bit. Search for words, Nortel. Oh, I believe I was doing the exclude. My mistake. Thanks, Mark. Okay, so now we have the different Nortel emails come up, and he says, okay, it's about a management guide. Okay, that's a supervisor guide. Don't want that one. Management guide. Okay, this is the one he wants. So we can just take that mailbox or that message and just drag and drop it right into his inbox. Hit close, and now he's good to go. We could change that to search across the entire database. And we get a lot more emails involving Nortel. And you could select all of these, export to a PDF. You could save the report, for instance. And this is more electronic discovery, but sometimes your individual users will make you go through this on a daily basis. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets to recover file information to your users. And then image stream. Let's say this is our staging machine. We're going to go off-site with it. It just has this wizard, so I got to set up online backup. And it's going to give me a file list. So if it's a file server, that's fine. I can get a file drive. But for right now, I have my backup drive F selected. All right, so it just selects everything here. We hit next. It gives us the ability to schedule this. So I can back up the end of the wizard, back up automatically without user intervention, backup as a service, in which case I'd enter my domain information here. I'd put a frequency on it to back up. So if you're doing a full image backup, you're probably going to want to back up only once a week because an image is a big file and it's going to take some time to get it across. Now, if you're just backing up the incrementals, then that would be something that you could probably do daily. The email reports and your email address, just like the file and folder system. Hit finish, and then you're done. Then you have the restore options. We get an online restore. And just as the wizard in our file and folder system, as you see, it looks pretty familiar. So for those of you familiar with that system, it's not going to be a big learning curve. We go to next, and we see all the data that we restored from. So here are all the images online. So I'd be able to recover this image and then go to the image creator wizard, select where the image is, and then recover it to a virtual drive. And if it's an exchange volume, which it is at this point, I could use EGR to get an exchange, granular recovery down to the message level. Okay. Sasha has another question. Image-based backup allows you to restore to the last good state of a server, I'm assuming. Well, that's the idea, certainly. So it's only going to run as frequently as you want it to, though. So that's what's good about being able to do incrementals every hour, is that essentially you'll have an incremental within a couple of hours that will be a good system state to go back to. And you don't have to worry about having 70 incrementals throughout a week because the system is intelligent enough and fast enough to do the recovery to incremental 37 in the same time it would do incremental 1. All right. I'm going to go through some of the back-end stuff, and if you have any questions about the software, keep those coming in. So as a customer, what do you have to manage your information? Well, we have this new Service8 dashboard they're going to be coming into. And it's pretty simple. We have 3 parts. We have part 1 up here, which is about your cloud space. So how much cloud space do you have? This partner of ours, Acme Technologies, has 500 gigs of cloud backup in total that they can provision, and they provisioned 483. So it's probably time for them to buy some more. We have user reports, go to the customer shopping cart to see that, and all this does is it goes right into the back end of the Premier Web Integration package that we were talking about. So the Premier Web Integration package has your list of users here. You have different actions where you can view details and see more specifically what this account is all about, use space, contact information, order history. You can upgrade the account, cancel the account, reset the password as long as it's not ultra safe, which is HIPAA compliant. You can change the email on the account. Really allows you to be flexible in what you want to do and manage this. More than that, let me stop this as we go through. We go back to the dashboard. There's another dashboard here that gives you some more information. Hold on a second while this loads up. All right, great. Let me stop this and go back to the dashboard. Oi, oi, oi. Let's close this out and we'll just relaunch this. Another question coming in, is this the new portal for which for the file backup version 2? Yes, absolutely. So those of you who are looking at some of the older systems, we're retiring those. So the old reseller portal is still active, but we're not really adding to it at this point. This new system is actually the back end of our Premier Web Package. So the Premier Web Package is something that we're going to require that you get a domain for us. So whatever you want to do. So right now, Acme Technologies uses managedonlinebackup.com, which is also where you can come to download the program deck we went through. So we have it on the main website. But what we would do is, for example, we have, say, Jeff comes in. So then Jeff comes into our program, and Jeff is launching Jeff's Online Backup. So he has already jefftechnologies.com as his main website. So for this project, he would register a domain, jeffsonlinebackup.com. He'd point the DNS for that domain over to our DNS, and then we'd be able to install this web application that would allow for all of this management. So you could create accounts. We have different admin settings so you can control some of the customizations. So can users cancel directly or not? Can they just send a cancellation request? About 95% of our partners keep this unchecked. The admin email, where do you want emails to be sent when people send a contact us form or when you send emails from the system? So if you have a nice support ticketing system that you'd like that's tied to email ticket generation, you can put that in there and use that. Email signature for the outgoing emails, metadata for the website. We do update this application regularly. It's a living, breathing product, so we, you just come in every once in a while, check for updates, see what's going on there. View gateways. Good question. Do you allow subdomains to the top-level domain? No, we need a clean, unused top-level domain. So we have right now plugs into Authorize.net, PayPal Pro, and PayPal Standard. We don't recommend that anyone uses PayPal Standard unless you absolutely have to because of limitations within PayPal Standard. For instance, it doesn't allow for upgrades more than 20%. So it actually, in PayPal Standard, you would just be canceling their billing profile and then creating a new one. If you went from a 10 to a 20 gig account, that's already beyond their policy. And there's also no prorated billing for that. It also makes you go to the PayPal website, setting up your PayPal account to send payment. PayPal Pro and Authorize.net. Authorize.net is the most popular for our US-based customers, and we recommend it, or I recommend it personally. What you would do is you just come in here, and you get your transaction key and your login ID from Authorize.net. So if we go back, I hit edit, you would just come in here, plug in these keys and this login ID that you get from the Authorize.net website when you log into your account, uncheck the sandbox, hit submit, and now you're ready to start accepting payment for backup. So that's gateways. You have full control over the content of the website, including backup plans. So we built in a CMS. For those of you familiar with WordPress and Joomla, you'll be very familiar and comfortable in the workflow here because those are the programs we designed it off of using. So we referenced our familiarity with those systems. So you have control over the SEO and metadata, page hit counter. You go to edit, and we see a nice, what some people will call a WikiWhack, but a visual editor. So you come in here very simply, change URLs, change images, whatever you like to do. You can also view the source if you're a little more advanced of a web developer. You go through it that way. It's a really nice system. There's a full file manager built into it, so if we wanted to change, where something was pointing to, we hit the link and we say, okay, show me all the files that are on the server.